Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Sunday, August 16th, 2020, and today I'm going to be taking a look at a 2020 electoral map, assuming that Joe Biden does get a convention bump. So every single presidential election year, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party count on what is called a convention bump, which means following the 4 days of their convention, they receive a spike in national polling data that puts them on top. In 2016, Donald Trump led Hillary Clinton following the RNC, and Hillary Clinton led Donald Trump following the DNC. So both of these conventions should likely end up with good news for both candidates, but looking at this virtual convention type thing, we won't be seeing any cheering crowds. We won't see a live delegate roll call, or at least in the sense that there could be all in a room together. We won't see any type of statewide improvement, even though it is very minimal in the past. It's less than a percentage in terms of improvement in the state that the convention is held in. 2016 was a perfect example. But if we look at where the Democratic Party was aiming at holding it, Milwaukee, and for the Republicans in North Carolina, both of them are going to be held virtually. There will be some official delegate business in both of those states, but the RNC seems to be getting pushed to the White House and being held in a ballroom. President Trump speaking. A number of top names that have yet to be released probably won't be. The RNC's big on trying to keep this a surprise, and the Democratic Party actually might have a surprise tomorrow. Apparently, John Kasich says that there's a very notable congressman speaking. People are ruling out Mitt Romney because he used the term congressman instead of just someone serving in Congress, but congressman does technically cover the Senate, but typically people use congressman to refer to representatives. But looking at the electoral map, not many states are going to change, to be completely honest with you. We're going to see, if there is to be a convention bump, an addition of the 8-point lead that Biden currently has over Donald Trump, 8.6% now, so a 9-point lead that Biden has heading into the convention. I mean, he's already at a point where if he increases, we are going to see landslide type numbers, and that's exactly what you're going to see on this electoral map. So I'm going to characterize all the states I would normally characterize as safe, but there are some states that I do need to characterize a little bit further to the left, meaning it's no longer safe, it is now likely, or in my last prediction, it was moved from the safe down to the likely column, and we're going to make sure we distinguish those states. I don't know why I keep forgetting Alabama. I think it's because I'm used to looking at a Senate map, and then I see Alabama as a toss-up, but Alabama, obviously GOP state. So Biden's campaign is already doing very well in a number of states. I mean, they're already leading state by state in terms of polls. The only state they're underwater in is the state of Iowa. I mean, they're underwater in Texas too, so Iowa, and Georgia, but the rest of the states, the rest of the swing states, including Ohio, including North Carolina, Florida, Arizona, all of the swing states, Biden is leading, and he's entering into the convention with over 50%. Not a single opposition party candidate against the incumbent president has entered in with more than 50% of the polling data since the 1940s. The 1940s. And that didn't really end up well now, did it? But looking at that long of a time period, I mean, we're talking 80 years since a opposition party nominee. So it was Mitt Romney, and then, looking at John Kerry, a lot of these people who are running against incumbents, they never hit 50% before the convention. They relied on the convention to save their campaign or to boost up their numbers, and that's exactly what happened with a number of these previous nominees on both parties. But now, Biden's already entering in with a 9-point lead. It can only get way worse for Trump from here. I mean, yes, Biden's leading in a number of swing states, but he's hitting 2012 numbers. We might see 2008 numbers following the convention. So this is an immediate reaction. If the convention does jump up Biden's numbers to a 10, possibly 11, 12-point lead nationwide, that would be super significant for the Biden campaign, because if we're working in an environment where the Democrats are leading by 12%, every state's a swing state at that point. And obviously not every single state, but literally every state. I know that doesn't work together, but I guess you can tell what I'm saying. Wyoming's not a swing state, but all of a sudden we start to see narrowing down South Carolina and, Missouri and Indiana, not to a point where I honestly think Biden could keep it. And I don't think that this lead following a convention, if there is a bump, will benefit Biden throughout the entire rest of the campaign. We still have 75 days to go following the convention, so a lot can change. But I'm just saying, if Biden is at a 10 to 12-point lead nationwide, game over. Let's take a look at where Biden would do extraordinarily well if he is to lead following the convention by a larger margin than he is right now. The entire Rust Belt is likely. There is no lean. There's no discussion about whether or not it'll be lean. It won't be close. It'll be an 8 to 12-point margin across all 4 of these states. Minnesota will probably be voting left of all of them, maybe Minnesota and Michigan together. Absolutely solid Biden territory. Nevada, Colorado, I'm going to move down to likely. Virginia as well in terms of the margin. New Hampshire is a likely state for Joe Biden, absolutely, without a doubt. Maine at large becomes safe. Maine's 1st district remains safe. And then Maine's 2nd district actually goes over into the Biden column. Trump is only narrowly leading in Maine's 2nd district. He's only narrowly doing well in some other states. And we're going to see a number of them start to narrow down. Montana's going to remain likely. Missouri, Indiana, South Carolina are going to remain likely. Mississippi as well. Alaska, all of these states are likely to narrow down. And following the convention, I mean, if we're not going to see any type of typical Republican support from candidates like Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan or John Boehner, those traditional Tea Party conservatives, we very well could see a state such as Utah narrow up to a point where a third-party candidate gains traction, or where a lot of those undecided voters, with a lot of the data that we're seeing, move over into the Biden column. Because a lot of these Republicans did not like Hillary Clinton. I mean, Utah voted for voted for Romney over Obama by 48%. It was the largest margin of victory. Donald Trump didn't even hit 50% in Utah in 2016. And that largely was due to the fact that Evan McMullin was running, but he wouldn't have gained that many votes, Evan McMullin, if Trump was not such an unliked candidate in that state. Might I say hated? I mean, Mitt Romney did so well mainly because he was Mormon and he resonated with these voters very well. And his lack of an endorsement for Donald Trump and his subtle nod to Joe Biden and to the Black Lives Matter movement is moving that state maybe not leftward in terms of their political beliefs, but moving it away from Donald Trump to a point where Joe Biden seems a more possible candidate. And I don't think he'll win the state. I don't think Joe Biden will come close in Utah. I'm just saying, or at least he will come close, less than 15%, but I'm not saying he's going to, nor should he make a play for the state, or is he even realistically having any shot at carrying that state on election day. But he doesn't need it. I mean, he's already at 279, and I have yet to characterize a number of other states. Nebraska's 2nd district becomes likely, not for the Republicans though, becomes likely for the Democrats. North Carolina, we could possibly see this state narrowly move over likely column. I'm going to keep it in the lean column, but narrowly there. I mean, Biden is up 5-6% in Florida. If Biden adds an additional 3-4% nationwide, Florida could become likely for the Democrats. Arizona could return to where it was as likely for the Democrats at their peak. I mean, it's likely in the Senate race. It's likely in the House race. It is possible Biden does a lot better than he's doing right now if he increases 3-4% nationwide, because he's up 9%. Actually, so maybe 2-3%. He's up 9% nationwide, but he's only up in Arizona by 3-4%. So adding an additional, bump would move it above that 5% column and absolutely make Arizona a likely state. And obviously, I don't think this is going to hold. This is not how I'm going to be looking at the election on election day or election week or election month, however long it takes them to count the ballots. But looking at where Donald Trump and Joe Biden are right now, and then adding an additional Joe Biden lead, it gets way worse for President Trump. Iowa could easily, not easily, but possibly flip. Ohio could become a lean state for the Democrats. I mean, to a point where Biden is at 359, he's a couple of electoral votes off of the 2008 numbers of 365. I mean, that was very significant. Okay, no Democrat has reached 400 since LBJ. And if we look at Texas and we look at Georgia, in a convention bump, in a post-convention bump, it is very possible Biden takes the lead in Texas, reclaims his lead there. Takes a lead in Georgia, reclaims his lead in this state, and gets 413 electoral votes. I don't think this is going to happen on election day. I know someone's going to screenshot this. This is going to circulate somewhere. Someone's going to say that this is my electoral college projection. But this is assuming that Biden gets a convention bump after the next 4 days. I'm so excited to watch it. I'm really excited to see the RNC as well. I want to see what they do differently, considering that this is all virtual, and that we all get the same type of viewing stance as the regular delegates. So that'll be fascinating. But looking at the electoral map, I mean, we are going to see probably a drastic push in favor of Joe Biden in a number of these states. Because if it's a pure toss-up right now, where Biden is ahead by 8% in Texas, if it's a pure toss-up in Georgia, if it's a pure toss-up in Ohio and Iowa, and pundits can't put a finger on it, but they can in all of these other states. I mean, The Economist rates the Rust Belt for Biden, Florida for Biden, Arizona for Biden, given the day, North Carolina occasionally for Biden. So these 4 states, I mean, these are the only ones that have really rarely ever been characterized. Texas probably the most out of all of them, but I mean, they're all close now. They're all within a possibility of going to either Joe Biden or Donald Trump. The polling data indicates the same thing as well. All 4 of these states are a percentage point or less in terms of the margin of victory for either Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Biden leads in Ohio, Trump leads in the remaining 3. But Biden has led in all 4 of these states, maybe not simultaneously, but following a convention where he's already leading by 8%, 9% nationwide. he very well could lead in these states where he's only underwater by 0.5%, 0.7%, and possibly take a lead in these states, which could make the entire Electoral College be lopsided in favor of the Democrats. And I think it's insane to see that a number of these states remain safe for Donald Trump. It really goes to show how partisan a number of these states are, Democrats and Republicans alike. We probably won't see a point in time where North Dakota goes blue on the presidential level and Oregon, or maybe not Oregon, I guess you could say Maryland goes red on the presidential level as well. These states are likely to remain the same election after election, and even in a scenario where Biden gets the largest Electoral College victory for the Democrats since 1964, and a number of these states are still safe, I mean, pretty significant portion of them, that's insane. I mean, we have gotten so far completely partisan voting, and whether or not that's good or bad, depending on the race that you're looking at on the presidential level, people are consolidating in their views, they're not seeing as much party crossover. It also attests to the fact that America is just a very toxic place for politics. You know, you can't go to a family reunion without having an argument with someone about politics, someone that you have grown up with having completely different views as you, and they're voting completely separately, even though you both believe that your views are 100% accurate. And I know this has nothing to do with this prediction, or not really prediction, I shouldn't say that, convention bump possibility for Joe Biden, but food for thought about American politics. So 413 electoral votes for Joe Biden, 125 for Donald Trump. Again, not a prediction. If you're skipping to the end, this is just assuming that Biden's numbers go up following the convention from what's a 9-point lead right now to a 12-point lead, 12-point lead nationwide, and what that could do for the electoral map. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also going to be a Discord link for you to join. I'm going to be live tweeting from the Twitter, obviously, and then making posts on the Instagram during the DNC just to cover what I think went well, what didn't, and what will resonate with voters. On the screen, there's a video you can watch and then a playlist for my 2020 election predictions. Again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.